Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Sim channel. My name is Leon, and in this video we're going to do twofold. First of all, I'm going to give a little tutorial about something Blender related, more specifically how to control the direction that your vertex normals are pointing, and after that we're going over the changes that I've made to the track over the past week or so. Right, so let's get into it. The Blender tutorial. First of all, let's talk about what this is about. So usually if you have an object and you import it to the Assetto Corsa engine, it will have a, if it's a sort of flat object, say like this concrete wall here, it will have one side that is usually lit by the sun, and then another side that is dark because it's not lit by the sun. And if you have the same effect in your grass, then you have a problem, because the grass will look fine from the sun's direction, so maybe from this direction, but it will look all dark and ugly from this direction. But we want it to have the same brightness no matter from what direction we're looking at it. So in order to do this, we need to have our vertex normals facing upwards, so that because the vertex normal is sort of what Assetto Corsa uses to calculate the brightness of the material, and if then one vertex normal is pointing in the direction of the light and another one is pointing away from it, the one that will be brighter is the one facing the light. If they all face upwards, they will all have the same brightness. So how do we do this? So this is the grass that I'm using. So this is one little piece of it. Of course, it's then duplicated and rotated millions of times, not millions, but a lot of times. But this video is not about that. We're just looking how to change the normals, the vertex normals. First of all, in the N menu, I don't know what this is called actually, but it pops in when you press N. Under Mesh Display, you have this little normals section, and you can actually have normals being displayed in the 3D view. So these are vertex normals. These are vertex per face normals as lines, and these are the ones that I've actually been talking about. So it's vertex per face normals that we're interested in, the purple ones. Also, you can use this to look at the face normals. These turquoise lines, they control from which direction you can actually see the texture, and from which direction it would just be completely transparent. Now, of course, these are two faces that are in exactly the same place, but the normals are inverted on one of them, so that you can look at them from both sides in game and see a texture. Now, what we want is this face normal to point both ways, so we can see it from both sides. What we don't want is the purple ones to also face both ways, because that will cause one side to be bright and the other to be dark. Now, how to get them to point upward? I already have the modifier that we need for this in place here. You find it in the modify section of the modifiers on the normal edit, and then you can just go ahead and copy these settings. Now you're gonna need to put in another object here. It doesn't matter what object it is, because it just uses the object's center, I guess, to have some place in the world at which these purple normals are then going to point. Now, I used just a regular cube that I created using create cube, and I put it on the same coordinates as the piece of grass, except 1 kilometer up. And right on this piece of grass, basically I just need this modifier plus auto smooth needs to be turned on. I don't know why, it just says so in the Blender manual, so I just went with it. Anyway, and as you see here, this is how it is now, and I'm going to apply the modifier, and now all 4 of the purple normals are facing upwards, and this is now basically the grass that I used to put in game. Right, so now that we've got this covered, let's go for a quick flyover. On the left side here you see my grass settings. I guess brightness is pretty self-explanatory. I set the specula up to basically match the texture underneath, so when the texture gets a little brighter from specularity or from reflections, that the grass around it will also brighten up a little. And there's a variation texture, thanks to Lilski, by the way. He basically reminded me that I should use more variation in the variation texture, and I think it shows nicely. It's now I think a really nice looking piece of grass, which of course is one of the main things that have changed from last week. Among the other things that have changed on this track are these sort of A-looking, A-style support pillars to the catch fences. I changed the grandstand up a little. I think I removed this front cover, but this is going to change again. I'm not sure yet how it's going to look in the end. I removed the backrests off the seat, so it's now more like little, I don't know, sitting plastic plates, like you would know from a football stadium maybe. And I also improved the texturing of the grandstand. We already talked about the grass. Right, we have new sponsors. I reached out to a couple companies and I've heard back from some. So far I've gotten permission to use GT Omega Racing, Fanatic, and then there's one more company that I'll quickly introduce, which is Raceland. They actually also made a little donation, very kind of them. And I believe Raceland is a website for, like, from Brazil, and it's for organizing sim racing, and they offer sim racing events and so on. As far as I know, don't kill me if I'm wrong. Right. What else changed? I put in new garage doors, or let's say I improved the ones that I had. It's just a quick mock-up of what it's supposed to look like in the end. It's not finished yet. So the garage doors are going to change more. I put in tire walls at the pit entry and a little gate. The gate doesn't really have any function in game, but it's sort of, I think there would be a gate on a real racetrack in roughly this spot, since you need some way to get stranded cars that may just strand on the grid. You need to get them back to the pit somehow, and you might not want to push them all the way around these corners and then back in here, but instead you would just put a gate here so you can retrieve them more easily. Right, I retextured and sort of finished the whole pit lane, the whole pit wall. For example, I put in these little bars, don't know what it's called. I finished up the stairs, so there's no more bars going weirdly into the ground. Right, yeah, basically I'm quite happy with the looks now. I retextured this, well, sort of pole or stand or whatever it's called, that has the starting lights attached to. And I guess we're going back to that bridge with our sponsor. I also retextured all the metal in this bridge. I guess that's pretty much it. I feel like I did more, but it's just a lot of these things just cost so much time that you end up feeling like you've done so much, and then you come to show it and it's just like, yeah, 1 minute of display and then it's all gone. You run out of new stuff. Okay, anyway, I mentioned donations. I don't want to beg too much, but if you feel like this track is worth supporting and you're a fan and you want to help keep me motivated, I'll put a donation address for PayPal in the description of the video. So feel free to donate any amount that you feel comfortable with for this track and to support me. Otherwise, any comments, questions, and so on that you might have, just post them in the comments. I will try and get back to you. Yeah, and I guess that would be it for now. Right, one more thing. If you're a potential sponsor looking for some ad placement on this racetrack, also just get in touch and let's talk about putting your logo on this track. There's plenty of space left for banners, or I could just replace the logos on these banners. So yeah, get in touch, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk. All right, take care and goodbye.